Alright, we're live on YouTube now.
We're stupid.
Oh, dude.
We're so dumb.
This
is all
dumb.
Oh, man. Okay.
Coming at ya, Trail Chasers.
Are we trying to scare them off?
Yeah, I know.
Coming at you live. Bringing it. Bringing the heat. I'm bringing the heat. Jose's bringing the meat. And we're cooking. Oh, man.
That
Dude,
was
that
awesome.
was right off my dome right there.
Dude.
That was good.
We weren't even recording.
No, we
We
weren't.
weren't even recording.
Thankfully.
Oh,
Yeah, but I'm bringing the meat.
No.
I'm
I
bringing the
don't
heat.
believe that you are, sir. I don't believe there's any chance of that.
Our audio is messed up again.
Is it? But you were just listening to it. It was fine.
I don't. You heard it. Oh yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds
see, it's all
horrible.
blown out again.
Blown out.
Exactly.
Blowing it out.
So here, we'll go back to the other mic.
All right, we're going to the other mic.
Are we watching that maybe video of the that TikTok that we're following?
Well, what's that? Is that your feed? What's that?
Better? Yeah. I think better.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something so I can hear it.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, just real quick, because someone named Hello Letty just joined. Hey, Letty. Maybe we should ask her how she's doing.
Yeah, it sounds better. It's just there's like the audio, us listening to it.
Oh,
It
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
horrible. Okay,
Okay.
so I think we're good now.
Okay.
Tell her she should buy a Tacoma.
Well,
2013.
Hey,
Oh.
Letty, if you're
Oh.
looking for a great deal on a 2013 Tacoma,
On a pimped out?
I'm telling you, I got a great deal for you. All right, so hey everybody, we are live now. We just finished a really good interview with Rory from Trigger Controller. They've got some really cool Bluetooth wireless.
Everything's about Bluetooth these days.
I know.
Are we officially recording now?
We are officially recording right
Oh,
now.
okay,
We're
sweet.
recording, and
I don't know unless you do a countdown. I'm not
3,
exactly sure.
2, 1. Now we're
Okay, it's
recording.
official.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
good.
Woo.
So part of our conversation
Feels real now.
Part of our conversation last week, we had a brief conversation about Gen X and millennials, and just so those of you that are listening know, I cut out about 15 minutes of conversation about Gen X versus millennials versus boomers because it went down a path that we probably didn't want to go down. But John Gamble sent us an email and he asked a question. He said, for the three of you, each one of us has to answer: Hot Wheels, Micro Machines, or Tonka trucks.
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh.
Can you just choose? You have to just choose
Apparently he wants us to pick one. Hot Wheels.
Well, it's
Micro
between two for me. It's between Tonka trucks and Hot Wheels. God, because dude, when I was a kid, used to get Tonka trucks. They were the real
Yes.
Tonka trucks. They were die-cast metal. They had big wheels.
I used to ride my Tonka truck dumpster
Yes.
down the stairs in my
Exactly.
the steps in my backyard.
And you could do that all day. And
All day.
You wouldn't break anything except your noggin. You'd probably break your head.
Casey has a scar on his head because one of the kids my mom was babysitting was at the top of the stairs and put a Tonka truck on the rail and tried to slide it down to Casey. Casey was like 4.
Yes.
And it nailed him in the nugget.
That explains so much now that I think about it.
Um,
But I gotta go Hot Wheels, man.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I loved Hot Wheels. My kids, my boys are into Hot Wheels, and I like checking them out. They'll come up, Dad, check out this
Yeah.
Hot Wheel.
what
is this?
We bought him Hot Wheels for Christmas.
Yeah, oh, dude, that's '69 Camaro, dude.
Yeah.
That's whatever. So yeah, I gotta go Hot Wheels.
Jose?
So my dad got me when I was really young. It was like the tail end of the Micro Machine
Yeah.
era. So I had those, and I also had some Hot Wheels. But Micro Machines are cool.
The only experience I had with Micro Machines
Totally lame,
Machine. I know. Well, Micro Machines were after you and I. Casey was into
Yeah.
Micro Machines.
Yeah.
But I would set, in our backyard at the house, I would set the Micro Machines up on the planter in the backyard and get 70 yards away, because we had a big backyard, with my BB gun and a scope on it, and shoot the wheels out of the Micro Machines.
Wow.
Yeah, we had BB guns, and we would set up. We'd take your wife's dolls and set them out there and shoot them up.
You know what? I got a handful of them. You can still shoot up if you want. She's got them sitting in the garage. I've been complaining for years. They're just sitting there.
Yeah, I think I'm Tonka Truck just because I remember them being.
I told somebody at work I'm waiting for a net because one of the guys at work during one of the heavy rains he had like an emergency. His like ceiling in his garage collapsed,
Oh, no.
and he was late. Like whatever. He had a major issue. And I went, damn, dude, I almost wish that happened in my garage so I could throw out half of the crap on my hands. In boxes taking up so much space.
So one thing you don't have on here, John, is I don't remember what were the I think they were called monster machines. They were the wind-up trucks that had the big foam wheels on them that you could. I would make tracks in the.
I think you talked about these before.
Yeah, I'm gonna look them up. I think they were called monster machines.
Well, wait, go ahead, look them up.
Well, you can wait. Excuse you. Oh no, Monster Machine just brings up a kids movie. Damn, somebody sent us a message and tell me what those were. So they were wind-up toys, and they had the big foam wheels on them, and they had like off-road trucks and like grave digger type stuff, and we would make tracks in the planter, and you'd wind them up and just watch them just 4x all over everything. I loved those things. Those are probably my number one. I don't know if anybody knows what those things are called. I'll have to figure out. But yeah, we did talk about it once before.
Well, that, and you know what else was really cool? Like the Transformers when they first came out, because those were like die-cast metal too, and they were really intricate. Like actually. You had to look at the directions to transform it back, robot to a car or whatever, or whatever it was. Those were really cool too, I remember.
Yeah, they were, I still love the Transformers, but yeah, they were awesome.
So are you hiding like a collection of Transformers somewhere in the house? They're all new, like...
I don't,
Did I just blow it? Is
No,
Tammy gonna be all pissed
no.
off at me now because now you're gonna start collecting Transformers?
I
mean,
wish
it's
I
funny,
did.
but it's not that funny.
I don't have any collectible anything. I don't have anything left that was like, oh, I need to collect this, other than baseball cards, which are at my dad's house.
Oh, R.I.P. all my baseball cards, dude.
Yeah, I didn't collect figurines. I didn't collect GI Joes. I didn't collect Star Wars. At one point, you have a bunch of those things, but you never think there's long-term value to them, and you get rid of them. But
okay.
What do you have a Transformer collection at home?
No, I wish I did.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I still had that stuff. But I don't. The only thing, what do I collect? I don't really collect anything anymore.
No, I don't either. I know.
Yeah, I got bills. I collect debt. Yeah, I collect debt.
Yeah.
I collect bills. Oh, I got some more bills today. Let's see what I got.
Let's see what happens.
Great.
Okay. Well, thank you, John, for the.
That's a good
for the
question.
email. It was a good question. Yeah. If you want to send us a question.
But did John respond? Like what his?
Did he say what his?
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't. Also, John, tell us what you were into. But he didn't include his in the email. We also got a couple voicemails. We're getting one of our regulars. So let's see where this one goes from. That is awesome.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah,
Look, I got included.
What is that crap? Why do Matt and Jose get to go hang out in Jersey and I don't?
Because we're the fun guys.
You are.
We are the fun guys.
We're not the fun police here.
Yeah, we're not trying. We've never stopped somebody from having fun. I don't know if I'm not saying you have, but you kind of sound like you have. That's all.
You look like you have.
I mean, you were like the forearm of justice.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe those people that were stealing shit were just trying to have a good time.
They're just trying to hang out at your beautiful store you used to work at.
Man, this has gone bad for me. This is some BS right here. I don't like the direction this is going. Okay, so we got Dave from Oregon. He's got a voicemail. This is going to be kind of long. Let's see what he has to say. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. We just got
Nice,
bumped.
Fios.
We just
Yeah.
got bumped for Fios.
That's right.
I appreciate that, Dave. I happened to get the opportunity to drive in a Gladiator today, fully built Gladiator, and I was sitting in there comparing it.
Oh,
to
in
my,
a Gladiator.
I got to ride in the
They didn't
Icon
do
Gladiator
Oh,
today.
okay. Oh,
I didn't drive it. I was a passenger in the Icon Gladiator today.
Was it everything that you remember?
Well, I'll tell you, they've done more to the Gladiator since the McGrath Ranch. They've added a rack.
Wow.
I think the tires are bigger.
I
Like
think they revalved the
it's
shocks themselves.
it is still an unfreaking believable machine. I mean, and it just in the short period of time I was in it, he punched it to get on the freeway, and it got up and moved, and it is absolutely. If you are someone that is rolling with 60K, I gotta tell you, like, that's the way to go. I no doubt about it. And theirs is dialed in super nice, and I loved it. It was great. But the only thing I could think of the whole time was $65,000. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's a beautiful truck, and
So the Trail Chaser money is it coming in yet?
No,
It's
all,
not coming. I mean,
all-
clearly, if it was, and you're just not telling us,
no.
You
this
tell
would
us,
have been,
right?
yeah, this would be the time when all of a sudden, that's what I'm trying to decide right now.
So you know
Are
how you
you
were saying
actually?
you know you said collected bills? Yeah,
Yeah.
the Trail Chaser money is at a deficit for sure.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
yeah,
We're
that's
not in
Wait
the
a
black.
minute.
We're in the red.
Do I owe you money? I don't owe you any money, do I?
everybody owes
Oh,
me money.
man.
No, I don't. So-
As soon as I started asking, I wanted to just pipe up, like, shut up, man.
But no, I mean, again, the Gladiator is amazing, and I think if you are if you're in the market for a mid-sized truck and you've got the means to jump into a Gladiator,
Why not?
do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
If you make $15 an hour,
Yes.
and you just
And you
want,
live at home.
You
and
know-
you want to work to wheel,
You know that
dude.
I was sitting in the passenger seat. I
I
wasn't
see, do
driving it, but there's a very so you think back to the Jeeps of yesteryear, the CJ7s with the solid steel dashboard and stuff. The Gladiator has that feel. It's definitely, you're in a Jeep.
Yeah.
You're in a big square Jeep that's not aerodynamic. It's got a lot of wind noise and stuff. It's a flat faced windshield and what have you. Compared to some of the more modern trucks that are a little bit more comfortable and quieter inside. I thought if I had $65,000 to do something with, I would definitely consider getting a Gladiator, but I'm not in that position, unfortunately for me. So we got one more voicemail, and God, this looks like a freaking rant, and I don't even know if I want to play this. Do I want to play this, Matt?
Yeah, play it.
Do I need to get the beep ready? What
Yeah.
the shit, Matt?
That actually happened. It's a true story. Oh man, it's embarrassing. And now, like I said, I'm very much aware of like.
You know you can crack the window when you get out of the truck, right?
Yeah,
it
but he
wouldn't matter,
wasn't
dude.
expecting.
You can't. That thing had mass. Like it wouldn't have billowed out of the window.
It settled into the
Yeah,
cushions.
Exactly. No, it was woo. And you don't expect. Now I'm very much aware of. Oh shit!
And why did you open the door and rip outside? Why did you just?
I was still like 5 minutes or whatever from. Look, something happened. I'm not proud of it, but now it's happened a couple of times now where we're going to lunch, and maybe like the last time it was 4 of us going to lunch. My truck was completely empty. I cleaned it out pretty good since the mud event, down at Ocotillo. And I was like, no, you know what? I don't think we should take my truck. I think there's a bunch of stuff in there because I couldn't think whether, it was safe or not. So
That guy didn't know either to shake your hand or to punch you in the face.
Everybody around the job site's like, have you been in Matt's truck?
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
They're like,
That guy.
it smells like death. Come on, let's tell him to drive to lunch, just so they can prove it.
I think he shit his pants.
Back in the day when I was in the field and you had the work uniforms, the navy blue.
That was last year for me.
Yeah,
So
the navy blue Dickies and the powder blue like button-up shirt.
we were gray and like a matted beige. But go on.
We used to call the navy blue pants the fart catchers because if you farted in those
Oh,
pants,
dude,
they wouldn't
those
escape.
Dickies things.
They wouldn't
Yeah.
escape. It would just like
Oh yeah.
swell, like it almost like bubble up, and it would follow you
Stay in
around
there,
everywhere. Yeah, so I didn't like wearing fart catchers to work. It was bad. Now Matt's truck is the fart catcher.
All right. Whatever.
Fart-
It's been called worse.
Fart catcher
Fart
one.
catcher. See if that sticks.
Raider 1.
Yeah.
The Frontier Fart Catcher.
FRT. What's the license plate? FRTC.
No.
I'm gonna get you a custom license plate, fart catcher.
All right. Whatever. Never mind. I was just gonna start going off on your license plate and what you're gonna do now.
Oh yeah, no, my license plate's gonna stay. It's the same license plate. So that was it for the listener feedback this week. We didn't have a lot going on. Our interview with Rory went pretty well, pretty long. So we won't have a whole lot going on. I did want to just kind of drop a nugget about some upcoming stuff. So today is the 20th. Happy Martin Luther King Day. In 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks, what is that?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So on February 5th, 6th, 7th, and possibly 8th, we will be out at the King of Hammers. So the King of Hammers kind of starts that Saturday before on the February 1st. That's going to be a lot of vendors set up. They're doing a bunch of they're doing the motorcycles this year.
I think they're doing everything. UTVs, everything.
Yeah, I know they'll start early, like the motorcycles, the UTVs. They do the trophy trucks, I think Wednesday, Thursday-ish. And then the Ultra 4 final race is on Friday.
Sorry to cut you off. I was listening to a podcast, Billy Wine and Whiskey, and they have they had a good things you should get prep for to go to King of the Hammers, so you should listen to their podcast.
I was just gonna say, can you tell us some of those things
Yeah,
so we
I
can
can.
impart that? No, just listen to their podcast.
Listen to Wheeling Wine and Whiskey.
Why would we start being informative now?
Those guys did the work for us already. They have a really. They did a. It's funny. I listened to the episode of. Was it? They did a like a whiskey shopping guide
for Christmas.
For Christmas, yeah. And it was. I don't even drink, and it was super interesting to listen to them talk about like the different flavors and the stuff. So they do a really good job of talking about like a good mix of Wheeling wine and whiskey. So,
but the two biggest takeaways is fuel. Like I'm gonna take my 2 jerry cans of fuel, and water. Like you need those two. I mean, they have that stuff there, but apparently they charge an arm and a leg like for water if you don't have any of that shit.
Okay.
Like, so.
Well, look, I will have Fireball, vanilla vodka.
Yeah, but just don't fucking put it all in one.
That's gonna be Wednesday night. You'll wake up Saturday morning. What happened? After like maybe 2 cocktails, you're done for the whole weekend.
So story. I was traveling last week for work. I was in Sacramento, and the Thursday night before we were leaving on Friday, we were down at the bar at the hotel, and the bartender kept coming over. He was like, "You want a drink? You want a drink?" And I was like, "Do you happen to have any Fireball?" And my boss just kind of laughs at me. And he's like, "No, I don't." And then he comes back. He's like, "Hey, we have some other cinnamon whiskey in the back."
There's
sweet.
like, there's another like major.
Yeah, I don't
big brand.
So,
dude, who are you? Like,
so I was like, okay.
Drink now?
I was like, do you have vanilla vodka? He's like, let me check. He comes back. I was like, do you have apple juice? He's yeah. So I had him make me one of those apple pie on the rocks drinks.
Oh my god! Did you call it an apple pie
on the rocks?
Whatever?
Yes. Yes.
He still made it for you.
He still made it for me, and it was good.
All right.
And I went up and went to sleep.
Did he take your man card away from you?
Dude, you think my man card is intact at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, how long have you guys known? My man card is gone. It's been gone for a long time.
What card? I don't even have one.
Yeah, no. So that was my drink experience. But so yeah, we are going to be at King of Hammers the 5th through the 8th. We're still working on the logistics of how and when we're going to get out there on the 5th, and what time we're going to come home on the 7th or 8th. And I can tell you,
God, dude, we are just
we're full of
7:40 and we're just yawning.
It's been a busy day. I've had a lot of stuff going on today. But I will tell you that it's going to be a fun time for all. We have a guest that's going to come on next week to talk some more about the events that are going on out there. I don't want to let too much out of the bag just yet. We'll wait till that's all finalized. If you listened to the interview with Rory, there's some discussion about it. But I am really excited about being at Hammers this year. It's a year where we're going to be participating in a lot of different events and get the opportunity to really mingle with more. And
how weird is that?
It is super weird. I've gone 2-3 years as a spectator and being able to walk around Hammertown and it's
Hammer Time.
I know.
It's so hard not to say.
You said Hammer Time earlier, now I can't stop saying Hammer Time.
You're welcome.
Dude, this wasn't even on my radar a couple weeks. I didn't think we were going to go. Like, because we didn't talk about it. We didn't even plan about it. Like, plan on going.
You know, to be honest, I planned on going out Friday. That's what I've done in the past. I've just taken Friday off, but, cruise up there in the morning, come home in the evening, and then, we've got a couple invites for other events and some things going on. And so we're going to be out there Wednesday. We got a whole schedule of things Thursday, Friday, and we'll talk about that more next week. But we talked about it a little bit with Rory in the interview. If you have not been to Hammers and maybe you're thinking that you're not into off-road racing or you're not an Ultra 4 guy or you're not a rock crawler, none of that matters. There's so much stuff out there at Hammers for everybody. All of the vendors are out there. All of the trucks are out there. All of the different types of configurations are out there. It's a really cool event, and above and beyond what's going on in Hammertown, the official area, everybody's camping and wheeling and partying and having a good time. I mean, you could just go out there and just tool around. I met up with Bobby Licato last year and hung out with him and his buddy all day long, and we wheeled over to this event and watched one of the obstacles and wheeled over here, and it was just a cool time. And then we hung out by the fire, and I took off that night. I mean, it's definitely worth the opportunity. I mean, the effort to get out there and see it, even if it's just Friday. The main event is on Friday, and then Saturday morning everybody rolls up and takes off. So we will be out there Wednesday through Friday, maybe Wednesday through Saturday.
Matt, have you ever been to Hammers?
No, I've been to Johnson Valley. That's kind of the weird thing. When I first bought my dirt bike back in '05, for 2 years straight, that's almost
That was the
once
spot.
a month I went to Johnson Valley just because there was so much different things to. There was sand. There was a really cool lake bed. I think it's like Boone Road or something like
Boone
that.
Road.
But that lake bed was bombed out, like it was all part of a firing range or whatever back in the day. So there was like a dirt bike track jumping in and out of the
Out of the craters?
Out of the craters.
Yeah.
It was a blast. So I don't recall hearing of King of the Hammers then. I mean, vaguely, I remember rock crawling happening then, and then I just never went back there. Post 2007, 2008, I don't think I certainly haven't ridden my dirt bike back there. So now it's blown up and it's super huge. So it'll be cool seeing Johnson Valley again.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, Johnson Valley, and then it just seems like it's a whole big giant thing now.
Well, we should do like an episode on the history of it because the King of the Hammers event has become the Indianapolis 500 of off-road racing. People from all over the world are coming into
That's
Johnson
crazy.
Valley. Hundreds of thousands of people descend on Johnson Valley to participate in
It
this
started
thing.
off with 13 guys.
13 guys,
that
yeah.
Dirty Dozen.
Dave Cole, and it was, hey, let's see if we can make it from here to there.
Yeah.
And they bet like a case of beer
It
on
was a
it.
case of beer.
And next thing you know, we're talking multi-million-dollar race rigs, and people are building now for Hammer next year. I
Well,
mean,
this is the first race of the season, I think, of some of the.
it's the kickoff in a lot
yeah,
of them. Yeah,
and a lot of the
And-
race series.
and they've expanded from just the Ultra 4 car. So an Ultra 4, the actual Ultra 4 classification, was something that Dave
Yeah,
Cole and King of the
great.
Hammers came up with because
Yeah.
there was no vehicle that matched it. The
But
Ultra, they now have the trophy trucks in there. They have the UTVs.
They have that stock class where it's like
the Everyman Challenge.
yeah, every man
Yeah,
challenge.
we'll do an episode in the next week or two. I'll try to put something together.
Are
We'll
we
talk about
entering next year in the every man challenge?
maybe.
Dude, who knows, man?
Yeah, who
Like-
knows? I would love to do. I mean, that's a lifelong dream, and Casey will tell you that he's already trying to figure out a way to get us into the Everyman Challenge for 2021, and that's something that we legitimately talked about. Casey and I have legitimately had the conversation about how we can do this, and we're going to sit down and put some plans together starting real soon. But
I've never been to Hammer. I've never been to the Hammers either, so I'm. Well,
It'll be the first time for both of us.
I mean, one of the things that's amazing about these Ultra 4 cars in this race is you've got a race like Baja where it's as fast as you can in wide open desert, and then you've got the We Rock and rock crawling challenges where you're going slow and you're articulating over boulders. This mashes the two of them together, and these guys are doing hundreds of miles through the desert at 100 miles an hour, and they have to take the same exact truck up some of the hardest off-road rock crawling trails in the world, and they're doing it at breakneck speeds. Like, it would take us a month of Sundays to try to get through some of these things, and they're doing it in 3 minutes.
and what's crazy is a lot of these trucks, they're all IFS and IRS trucks.
Yeah.
Like, they're all independent suspension
It's
trucks.
becoming a big thing. I mean,
Wow.
Shannon Campbell and Campbell Racing, Shannon Bailey, and they're out there racing the IFS trucks that they're building, and there's
But even IRS too, like the rear, all
Yeah.
four corners are independent suspension.
yeah,
Most of
yeah,
them.
it's going to be. I believe that
What's
those.
the benefit there?
So the
Isn't
articulate.
that like potential for failure, right?
That's been historically what the
Yeah.
knock is. The
But
knock on IFS has always been it's not as strong as a front axle,
A solid
a
front.
solid front axle. But they're now building them in a way
They're
where they're
so strong,
just as strong, and now you're getting the benefit of the articulation.
But it
with-
handles better.
Yeah, without think about the a solid front axle. If you go over a rock, that axle tilts. The body of the vehicle has to tilt with it at some point. There's only so far that axle can go before the body starts to roll. IFS doesn't do that. This left wheel could droop all the way down, and this one's on solid ground without any issues, and you don't get that same body roll. So now you can tackle a lot of those obstacles faster.
Especially on like the wide open
Yeah.
areas, that's where IFS shines. You
yeah.
know.
And I've watched the Hammer event every year, or reviews and caps and stuff. Some years it's a solid front axle that wins. Some years it's an IFS. I mean, I don't know what the statistics is for each one, but it's to the point now to what Jose was saying is that the IFS is going to be the thing. It's going to take over, I think, eventually, and the IRS as well, the reverse suspension. So those of us that are rolling trucks that have independent front suspension, maybe it's a weak point, but those race components are going to trickle down.
Exactly. Well, that's awesome. I like hearing about that because you know me, like
you're going to break some stuff.
I kind of want to push the envelope if I can.
There's always going to have to be a fuse somewhere, right? So something's going to have to give. It's just you're going to have to choose what.
Yeah.
Because you can upgrade your axles, you can upgrade your A-arms, you can upgrade the shocks, but if you have all that stuff and you haven't upgraded your diff, like something's gonna give.
What's the weak point?
Yeah,
exactly.
And you kind of have to decide where you want that break point to be.
Probably that blue oval on the front of your hood is probably the weak point.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know who's got a blue oval. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, if you were to have one of those, that would probably be the weak point.
Someone in the chat already said, "Did you buy the Ranger yet?" and Michelle sent me a message on Facebook. She's like, "Is it in the driveway already?"
Yeah, I'd say no.
Start playing taps.
Look, as of this moment, that's just a conversation. It's nothing's real till it's real, and it's just a random conversation. But hello, Letty. If you're looking for a really clean Toyota Tacoma with everything you would ever need for your family to be safe and be protected because it's
reliable.
She's clowning on us.
Well, Letty, if you want to participate in the conversation about off-roading, you should take a 2013 Tacoma out on the trail and really get to experience it.
Oh man.
If
do it, Jose.
I don't think Jose gets to make that decision.
I don't have the final say.
I don't think Jose makes that decision. But yes, so please, if you guys are going to be at Hammers, come out to Hammers. We next week we'll have some conversation about where we're specifically going to be at Hammers and where you can find us. And the Orange Room is going to be set up. I got word today the Orange Room is going to be set up in a very freaking awesome location that I'm freaking stoked about. So if you guys have the opportunity,
how did that happen? We can't talk about it, but
where's that at?
Yeah.
It happened because
what's happening?
I think what's happening is the standards in American society have dropped low enough for us to make an impact in the podcasting world.
This is evidence of that.
American society has deteriorated far enough to where we are now popping up in somehow.
Yeah, man, what a trip.
Yeah, that's...
All right, well, thank you. Thanks, America. Thanks, America.
Thanks, America. Speaking of thanks, America, we, in 2019, the show was downloaded in like 63 different countries. We had...
that's not even America. Those are other countries.
Those are other countries.
Other than America.
We are international officially.
Yeah, our show has been downloaded in many, many, many countries.
I wonder how funny we are.
Does it translate? Like
no, I'm assuming it's either people that are traveling or it was a mistake.
What does trail chasers mean in like different languages?
Well, I think that one guy in Thailand that downloaded us probably did it by mistake.
For another,
Botswana, we got downloaded in Botswana, Fiji, Croatia.
Don't say Iraq. Don't mention Iraq.
We were downloaded in Iraq. I'm hoping
that's for our service members.
I'm hoping one of our service members is listening to us.
And if so, I apologize, dude.
Yeah, Argentina, Hungary, Monaco.
We're big in Japan.
We are big. We are big in Japan.
I got
it. Russian Federation, nice. Costa Rica, Mexico, New Zealand. The majority of the downloads, understandably, are in the United States, and so thank you, America, for that. Australia came in at number 3. United States, Canada, Australia, and United Kingdom. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
So there's someone in Australia listening to us go, those guys have a horrible accent. Those guys can't even speak English right.
Even people here are saying we have a horrible accent.
People here say I can't even speak clearly.
This guy sounds like Inland Empire. They can't get that Inland Empire.
Australians are not coming to the Inland Empire the Australians are like, you gonna go to America? Dude, stay at Hemet.
You helped. Yeah, you helped. Exactly. Oh, what if like Hemet becomes a big huge thing, like Compton or something? Like, oh my God, it becomes a big thing in Australia.
Yeah, have you heard about Hemet? That's funny. We have understandably, we have a lot of listeners in California, Los Angeles area being the largest portion of the United States. Sacramento, San Francisco, Seattle, Tacoma, Phoenix, Phoenix Rescue Con. That's you. Thank you, sir. I think all of those downloads are just.
He just keeps
Tim.
downloading the same episodes.
Tim, keep downloading. Whatever you're doing, just keep downloading it because that's really pumping us up in Phoenix. We're big in Phoenix. All the way through Birmingham and let's see, what was the lowest downloads? What city doesn't like us? Tallahassee. So Tallahassee.
Why is Tallahassee
up there?
Yeah, it's 0.
Well, because it's one of the markets that's identified in the where they capture the data. So we had 0 downloads in Tallahassee, Florida. Hey, whoever's in Tallahassee, give us that hand.
Get on it.
Let's get that.
Understanding that you're not hearing us because you're not downloading us.
Where's Zanesville?
But if you're adjacent to
Tallahassee,
if you have relatives
there and tell them.
If you have relatives in Tallahassee,
It's the one spot we don't have a download.
Zanesville, I'm not sure where that is. Anchorage.
That's near Zizix, I think.
No,
You're on your way to
it's
Vegas.
next to
Weston,
Chesterville.
Let's see, West Chestertonville, Juneau. We got some downloads in Juneau. Juneau, Lafayette. How do we play in Lafayette? I wonder how the Southern California humor plays out in Lafayette.
I don't think it does.
No,
probably not.
They just make fun of us.
Yeah.
Probably.
Waco. So
That's cool.
That's where my.
Not Waco, but making fun of us.
Yeah, we're good with that. Bend, Oregon, Eugene, Palm Springs, Miami. We've got some people in Miami, Florida, Honolulu. So.
Yeah, well, when you're up all night, you need something to listen to.
Wow.
Nice.
So, we got some good numbers in Vegas. So you guys keep it up. We really appreciate that. I mean, so going back to your comment, Matt, about how is some of this stuff happening, and you guys will hear what we're talking about next week. But so this stuff's happening by these numbers, by watching. I've been tracking download numbers.
Dude,
and
Cody loves
graphs.
Graphs.
We are looking at spreadsheets right now and graphs, and I will tell you, if these guys weren't in the room with me, it would be a different story.
I can leave.
There are cameras in here, right? There's like 4 cameras in here.
What channel is that? How are we getting these viewers?
That's a whole nother podcast. But yeah, every week we see the download numbers increase, and I go back to early 2016 and even 2018 when Matt came on board and we relaunched the show. There was a period of time where we were just excited that anybody was listening to the show and watching it grow the way it has.
Well, the first run where it was like, do we even know if anybody's gonna show up? And it was Jose. Jose was there, but there was like the bet with Tammy and Monty, like, these guys aren't gonna have anybody show up tomorrow. What do you think anybody's gonna show up?
Now you can't get rid of me.
Now he's stuck in my house. But
Yep.
every
He lives here?
every week, we got the casting couch you can sleep on. Every week we.
I'm never touching that.
I wouldn't.
The last-
I only sat there.
The last person that sat on the casting couch was Matt, by the way. But we watch these download numbers pretty good, and we keep an eye on these, and we when it comes time to have conversations with sponsors and people that want to collaborate with us on the show and give us opportunities, these are the kinds of things that we show them, and we watch our social media. Our social media has more than doubled just in the last year. When you look at all of our different platforms combined. Our download numbers have significantly increased by hundreds and thousands. It's impressive and humbling when we think about, hey, we're just a bunch of yokels sitting here in a spare bedroom having a good time, and you guys are listening to us, and we appreciate that. So we didn't really do an end of the year recap, and this is kind of impromptu. We didn't really have a plan to discuss it, but I want to thank you. I want to thank you if you're listening to the show. Thank you so much. If you're someone that follows us on social media, thank you. If you are someone that has something to say, send us a voicemail.
Good or bad.
951-394-DIRT.
Yeah, actually, I kind of want to hear some bad stuff, like.
Well, I'm sure
a
there's
critique.
Yeah, I'm sure there's things that we do that are annoying.
I'm not calling that number. F those guys.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the phone number? Because there's still
951-394-DIRT.
Not according to Matt.
Still.
It's beeped out at the end. I know we still
It's
haven't
not
recorded.
me. It's not
Last
me.
I beeped it.
It
Oh,
wasn't
it didn't?
No.
Oh, because I had to edit it that night before I left for.
Well, I sent you a message. I'm like, dude, what the hell's going on? Like, it's still the wrong one.
We look. Just because we do this a lot doesn't mean we do it well, all right?
Oh, I'll be the first one. Just because you do something for years doesn't mean you're doing it right.
I know you called out Joe on that, but so anyway. And my wife says, "Oh, so many things that I don't do well." So thank you, baby. I appreciate that. We do.
Can she call into the show? Some critiques about you and the things you don't do well.
The last thing we need is a list of things I don't do well because there's not enough hours in the show.
I need it. I'm requesting it.
No, we don't need that. But thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for following us and participating in stuff. We are.
Yeah, she's commenting on
what?
Instagram. Oh, so many things.
That's what I said. She said, "Oh, so many things."
Okay. I didn't see.
My interpretation was that so many things that are annoying. And she's gonna keep going. Should we just keep this line open, babe?
She doesn't come in here.
Yeah.
You guys are finally communicating.
Yeah, this is how my wife tells me things. When she's sitting in the other room, she gets on Instagram chat so that we can understand what's going on.
You want me to take a cordless mic and go in there?
No, I don't want you to do
I'll
that.
do it.
I know you will.
She's gonna be like, how much time do you guys have?
And she will participate, and we're running out of computer space. We can't stay on here forever. But anyways, seriously, this kind of started off as just a hobby, something to do for fun, and it's become a community of people that I really enjoy interacting with.
Absolutely.
So I get the opportunity to hang out with these guys every week and the other contributors to the show, and we found out some information today that's going to be really exciting that we cannot wait to tell you about next week, but we have to wait. So tune in next week for that. And this is going to be great, and I'm really looking forward to 2020. And thank you guys for listening and joining us when we sit here in the room and do this stuff. And thank you guys for being here and doing this every week.
Yeah, you bet, dude.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. All right, live feed. Appreciate it. This has been a decent day. Only messed up the audio once. I think we got that figured out. We got Facebook going over here.
I'm gonna end the live stream right now on YouTube.
Yeah.
Did anybody watch on YouTube?
One guy.
Yeah, and we have Susan on Facebook. My sister-in-law was the only one on Facebook. Hi, Susan.
I mean, we haven't really announced it. It is what it is.